Hey, you. Yeah, you. Welcome to the Malaka podcast.
Gambling. As good old Wikipedia says about gambling, gambling is the wagering of money or something of value, referred to as the stakes, on an event with an uncertain outcome, with the primary intent of winning money or material goods. Personally, I think it's just something to pass the time. I mean, how many people have just gambled just for the sake of gambling? Whether if it's a sporting event or a couple of kids playing wiffle ball. It could be a pretty serious addiction too. You know, you could play for a couple bucks here and there, and then all of a sudden, you're losing your house. You're losing your friends, your family. It's no laughing matter. But a lot of people say they have their problem under control, but do they really? In Canada, we have a thing called Proline. Now, first of all, the name is pretty ironic, I'm not going to lie, because most people that play it are not pros. Basically, what it is, you can bet sporting events legally, like you would play the lottery every Friday. Put a couple bucks down. The most you have to pay is $2, or you can pay up to $100. And they give you odds on certain games, and you have the chance of winning money. But realistically, you have to know something about sports. But you know what? That's bullshit too, because there's been times where I've literally bet on Proline, and I've bet like a $2 3 games, simple ticket, and then all of a sudden I'll win 25 bucks because I bet every team that they favored on the ticket. I just bet the opposite. I just said fuck it. Worst case scenario, I lose $2. Best case scenario, I prove my point. And that's happened to me a couple times. And then there's times where you bet on games and you think, all right, this game's a lock. Like, there's no way I'm going to lose this bet. Like, there's no way. And then all of a sudden, you lose. You think something is for sure in life, but it's not. And that's where gambling comes in. So when you gamble, try not to bet a lot of money. I mean, if you don't give a shit about money, if you're the Michael Jordan type and, just want to bet for the sake of betting, go for it. Who cares? But yeah, be careful with your money. I mean, there's no point in going nuts about something that you know barely anything about. I mean, you could just be bored one day and just go, hey, you know what? I got a good feeling about that team. They're wearing my favorite colors, or that person's got the exact number I was just thinking about 2 weeks ago. It's stupid. Just it's not worth it. They always say, bet with your head, not over it. And most of the times, you know if something is a good bet or not. Most people do bet sports, but a lot of people do bet other things, like the stock market. Stock market is a huge gamble. Just ask Martha Stewart. You got to know what you're getting yourself into. You got to know, is it worth it? Is this going to actually pay out for me? Is this something that I'm really 100% sure about? And if I get busted, I'm going to have to suffer the consequences. Might have to go to jail for inside trading. I don't even know who these guys are on their line. If you watch the movie Wolf on Wall Street with Jordan Bedford, these guys had no idea who's on the other line. It's just like, okay, you know what? I got a couple bucks to spend. I might as well just, blow it on this. Worst case, I lose it. But they don't want just a couple hundred from you. They want a lot more than that because they don't give a shit. In the end, they just want your money. In the end, you're thinking, okay, can I get more rich off this? Can I, take a chance? It's all a gamble. I mean, people play lottery every single week, whether it's by themselves or you're at work and you bet with like 22 people, and you got to make sure you sign that paper because if you don't sign that paper, then later on they could say, oh, okay, you didn't actually pay, and there's weeks where you don't actually pay, and of course that's going to be the week that they win the millions. There's actually been cases in that where people play the lottery every week, they missed it one week, and then they end up trying to sue the other people. Well, you know what? Tough shit. You gambled, you didn't want to take a chance that week, you were sick, you missed out, just face facts. It is what it is. Norm Macdonald, great comedian, always had a great joke. He always said that, gambling is the only disease where you can actually win money. And that's pretty funny, but at the same time, it is a disease, I mean, once you start gambling, you lose a little bit of money, or you could win, and then like either way you become addicted to it. Either you're trying to win more money with the money you accidentally won. I mean, let's be honest, I mean, for the most part it's like a 50-50 chance, when you bet a game. You never know what's going to happen, or you lose it and you end up chasing it. There's no point. I mean, either way it's almost like a part-time job. In some cases it's a full-time job. You're just constantly chasing that rush, that high. I remember watching a movie called The Gambler with James Caan. And there's a great scene, I thought, in the movie where, he's going out with this girl, and, the girl goes to bed, and he's like, yeah, I'm just going to take a bath before I go to bed, And, I'm sure he just wants to take a bath, relax, whatever. But really, he's in the bathroom by himself, listening to the radio and listening to the end result of the game. And of course he ends up losing. Now, most of us would freak out, but he can't really freak out because he's just in the tub. He's got his girlfriend in the bed there, doesn't want to wake her up, and he's just lying there in the tub, and you just tell by the expression on his face, like how frustrated he is, and he really just wants to, just go nuts, but he can't. And that's the problem with a lot of gamblers, is that they have to hold a lot of it in. They can't even say what they did, how much did they lose, are they, like, do they actually have a gambling problem? It's a very hard thing to admit. Now, I found online that there's 20 simple questions that you could actually find out if you do have a gambling problem. So I'm going to be honest about myself. I'm going to try to answer these questions. And you know what? If you're bored sitting there and you're one of the 12 people that listen to this podcast, please feel free to join along. Question number 1. Did you ever lose time from work or school due to gambling? I don't think I have. I don't think so. I mean, I skipped school a lot. It wasn't to gamble. That's a whole different story there. Did I lose time from work? Probably not, no. But the problem is, like, a lot of times you could work an afternoon or night shift, and you're just there at work. And again, it's it's like James Caan in the tub. You can't really freak out in front of your coworkers, if you lose, because you're going to lose your job, or just take it out on the wrong person. So yeah, there's been a couple times, but whatever. I just lose a couple bucks, and still it comes with being a Leaf fan, so it's okay. Question number 2. Has gambling ever made your home life unhappy? Me personally, I don't think so. Although I could see other people. Let's say if you're the average guy married, a couple kids, you got a wife. And again, you're sitting at the table, you're enjoying a nice piece of steak she made, and you're just looking around. You're like, shit, I fucked up today. But again, you can't say that, or else divorce. So unless she's got a gambling problem too, which is not going to help anything. But yeah, that's it. Question number 3: did gambling ever affect your reputation? Me personally, no. But again, I could see how it could happen with someone else. You could suffer from that disease. What's it called? Being a prick. You don't really know how to act with other people who don't have your disease. So yeah, it could very much affect the way people see you. Question number 4: have you ever felt remorse after gambling? Me personally, yeah, absolutely. I again, it just like when I say the Leafs, I mean the Toronto Maple Leafs. Anybody that lives in Toronto knows exactly my pain. So, I mean, there's times where I'm not gonna lie, I bet against them, I bet for them. I mean, clearly they're not gonna win every game, but yeah, afterwards I'm like, yeah, shit, I shouldn't have done this. But I think maybe they mean more on a personal level. Do you feel just bad for maybe gambling in general? So yeah, I could see that too. Question number 5: did you ever gamble to get money with which to pay debts or otherwise solve financial difficulties? Absolutely. I'm not gonna lie. There's times where, let's be honest, guys, phone bills are expensive, internet, cable, all that shit. There were times where I got really lucky one time. I bet a pro line, and I bet, I want to say maybe 20, 30 bucks, something like that. But I was lucky. I bet 2 wins and 1 tie. And I was lucky that time. I got it, and I was able to pay off my bill. So even I admit that it is a horrible thing. It sucks just to have that like inner pain of the gambling mentality. Like I remember that episode of The Sopranos where I mean the whole episode was just based on gambling. And Tony Soprano, he, clearly just bet a horse because it was just named Meadow. Meadow is his daughter. So he's like, this is a sign from God. I got to do that, And, Sill's like, yeah, do that. Yeah, you got to do that, of course. Yeah, like no one's common sense there. It's a whole thing where you just don't, want to go against the boss, but at the same time, you just want to go with the flow, whatever. So as soon as he, of course he loses, and the scene ends with the horse race going in slow mode, and he's got this like shocked face on him, and again, he can't go nuts, because, he's got to show restraint. He's got to show, he's still in charge, that he can't lose it that quick. And, I'm sure it's to, pay off other gambling debts. And, yeah, it sucks. So, just pay your bills on time. If you got to work an extra day, it's not worth the agita. Question number 6: did gambling cause a decrease in your ambition or efficiency? Me personally, a little bit. Sometimes, obviously, listen, like when you lose a bet, it sucks, and then you just feel down. So obviously, you're gonna feel that pain. So again, it just comes with being a gambler. It's just one of those things where, yeah, there's a good chance you will lose. I've also heard somewhere, if you're, consistent gambler, if you can win 40% of the time, that's great. Personally, I never really understood that. I mean, like I always figured you have to win like at least 50%, but I mean, I guess it depends like how much you bet and the odds and all that shit. But yeah, there's a good chance, yeah, you're gonna lose, and there's a good chance that you could go a long time for losing. So yeah, I could definitely see how it would affect both. Question number 7. After losing, did you feel you must return as soon as possible and win back your losses? Again, absolutely. You're like, don't worry, I bet $5 now. I lost it. Again, like I don't bet a lot. Like I'm the type of person like if I lose $1, I'm pissed off. Like that's just the way I am. But yeah, again, like if you lose like $5 and you're like, okay, worst case scenario, I'll bet $10. Then I'll get it back. Maybe I'll win a little bit more, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that. Actually, that's the episode of The Sopranos. It's called Chasing It. And it was great name for it because, yeah, you're constantly chasing that addiction. You're chasing that high. You're chasing that, feeling of winning. And I just want to get back my money, And then you think to yourself, shit, like, why am I even doing this? How did I end up like this? And, yeah, it sucks. Question number 8. After a win, did you have a strong urge to return and win more? Of course. Like I said before, you're on the high of winning. You want to keep going, you want to keep going on this streak, I tell people a lot of times, like, if you just won, let's say, I don't know, 10 grand or something, keep in mind, you won. You beat whoever you're gambling against. Like, just cash out, I mean, that high of, okay, yeah, maybe I can keep going and win a little bit more. Worst case, I'll lose a little bit of that, maybe whatever. But then, before you know it, you're gone. You're just gonna just keep constantly chasing that money. There's also a great movie called Owning Mahoney, and it stars Philip Seymour Hoffman. And from what I'm told, it's actually based on a true story. It's about a guy who actually is from, I believe, Toronto. And he was like a banker. He gave loans to people, whatever. Like, he had a square job during the week. But the problem is he would take that money and literally every weekend, he would fly to Vegas and just gamble. Like, he just loved to gamble. Like, he didn't give a shit. And it was just a serious addiction. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, don't listen to this next part. But there's a point at the end of the movie where I think he basically broke the bank. Now, if you're in Vegas and you break the bank, that basically means that like all the money that was supplied for that table is gone and you won it all, which rarely happens. I mean, it actually shouldn't happen. I mean, because the people who are, keeping an eye on the tables there and the dealer and all that, it shouldn't just, it should never happen, And I think he won up to $8.5 million. But to a guy like that, it didn't even matter. It was just the disease of just keep going and going and going and going. And it got to a point where, yeah, he won, I think, yeah, $8.5 million, something like that. And he lost it all, And if that's not a sign of disease, I don't know what is. I think at the end of the movie, too, they, like, ask him, like how... they asked him something like, like how much do you actually care about, like, gambling, and how much do you think it's a problem, And I think he said, it's not really that much of a problem. It's only like 20% or something like that. And it's just sad because he's just programmed to just keep going and going and going. It's just not even about the money anymore. It's just about him just getting it out and just having, I guess, his version of fun, But yeah, it's just sad. Question number 9: did you often gamble until all your money was gone? Now, me personally, I haven't done that. I mean, there's times where I'll have like change in my pocket. I'll just like go for it, whatever. I don't care. Again, Norm Macdonald had a great thing. He said something like about some other guy, and he said, Like, there's times where I've totally like wiped out, and like he knew someone else that said something, like he, like when I lose all my money, like like I got nothing left, but I feel clean, and he said, like, like I know what he means, and in a way I could sort of see what he means, in the sense where it's like, okay, you have nothing left, you can start off clean again, you start off from square one, you got nothing else to lose, but at the same time, I mean, me personally, I think it sucks losing everything, you're kind of like, shit, what the fuck, like, why did I do that? I mean, I could have invested in a condo or something, but yeah, some people just have that mentality. Question 10. Did you ever borrow to finance your gambling? I haven't. I haven't done that. Other people, yeah, obviously have. Like I said, it's a serious addiction, and yeah, you just got to keep going. Worst case, let me borrow some money. I mean, you'll probably even lie about it. Say, yeah, I need, it to pay bills or something. It's like that scene in Casino where Joe Pesci's at the bar, and he's talking to the guy. He's like, yeah, like, don't make a fuck out of me, Al. I know you gambled. Tell me you gambled. You gambled. You gambled. And then he doesn't even say anything to the other guy. He just kind of just nods his head. And Joe Pesci ends up giving him the money. I'll give you the money so I could, so you can turn back on the heat, and it sucks. It really sucks. But yeah, me personally, I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't loan people money, so yeah. Question 11: have you ever sold anything to finance gambling? Have I ever done that? I don't think I've ever done that. I mean, I've sold things because I just want to get rid of shit, but no, I haven't. Again, yeah, people will probably do that. I mean, who knows? They might steal other people's shit and sell it. So yeah, again, that's not cool. Question 12: were you reluctant to use gambling money for normal expenditures? Me personally, not really. No, for the most part, I just figured, you know what? If I got the money, I'll spend it on certain things I have to. If not, then don't worry about it. Again, I can see how other people do that. It's, it's something other people want to do. Makes them happy? Sure, why not? Question 13. Did gambling make you careless of the welfare of yourself or your family? Yes, sometimes it has. Personally, yeah. Not so much my family, but just more myself. I'm like, okay, why am I doing this? Like, this is just stupid. And again, I think a lot of people are just bored. I think that's why they just do it. Great comedian Artie Lang, he said one time, people ask him, like, why do you gamble? And he says, it's just instant fun. If you're worth only $500 one day, just bet $1,000 on the game, and just order pizza, and just get drunk watching it. Why not? But yeah, if people want to live that exciting life, then yeah, go for it. But again, you got to be aware of yourself and how it affects others. Same thing in Sopranos too. He made a bet, like in that episode, Tony Soprano, where he thought, okay, you know what? If I win all this money, I'm gonna help someone else who is a former associate of mine, his son, and I'll put the money towards that. But of course he loses. And it ends up, he just spends, he still spends a lot of money, like helping the kid go to boot camp, but at the same time, it's like, he could have helped them, go somewhere else, But yeah, everything affects everything. So just always be aware of that. Question 14. Did you ever gamble longer than you had planned? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, the Leafs do play an 82 game season, so And then sometimes they hop into the playoffs the odd time. And absolutely. I mean, that kind of goes without saying. I mean, with gambling, a lot of times you just want to gamble more and more and more, and you're like, just let it ride. I'll call in sick or whatever. Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of like planning like a mini vacation, and you're kind of having too much fun, and you just want to expand on it. So except this vacation, you lose way more money, but people will do that. Question 15. Have you ever gambled to escape worry, trouble, boredom, loneliness, grief, or loss? Definitely with me, boredom. I mentioned that before a couple times. Not just with me, just with anybody. I mean, it's just something to, pass the time. A lot of people, maybe they're worried about not having enough money. Maybe they'll take a chance for a couple bucks. And then of course they end up into trouble, and then eventually they'll probably just get bored of their habit, but they're already stuck in there, and they're by themselves. Loneliness, that's where that kicks in, and they feel bad about it, grief, and then they're like, they look back at everything they did, and they're like, yeah, we, lost a lot of shit. So, also Norm Macdonald once said about gambling is, it's not so much about you, it's more about like the time you lost, and that goes with anything. You're losing time with your family, friends, just or even just stuff you want to do. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Question 16. Have you ever committed or considered committing an illegal act to finance gambling? Now, me personally, I've never done anything like this to support my gambling. Have I watched a movie before and said to myself, yeah, it doesn't look that hard to rob a bank? Yeah, absolutely. And then you realize it's bullshit. It'll never happen. But not that I would. I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there. I mean, thinking about doing something and actually doing it are two completely different things. But again, I'm sure a lot of people have gotten really desperate and they want to go out there and maybe do a quick little robbery. Maybe it's just someone they know. Maybe they know where they keep the money under the mattress or whatever. And you do what you got to do, and it sucks that you got to do that. I mean, that's just, I mean, me personally, I think that's just really desperate, But again, it's like if someone wants to get high, I mean, if they're like on heroin or something, they got no money. I mean, they got to get high and they got to do what they got to do. So, it sucks that your life would get to that point. But again, I could absolutely see how people would do that. Question 17. Did gambling cause you to have difficulty in sleeping? Me personally, yes. If I can give anybody advice out there, let's say if you had a long day at work and you bet, simple game, or simple games, whatever. You're about to go to bed. It's 11, 12 o'clock. You're literally about to go to bed. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to check out the scores. And it could either really make you happy or it'll really just piss you off, So my best advice is don't check scores at nighttime, like especially before you go to bed. But I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's like having debt in general, if you're owing money to someone, of course it's going to affect you. Or just owing money in general, because of gambling. And you will absolutely have trouble sleeping, I mean, who knows? You probably have a dream about it or two, and, that you're trying to get the money again, and it sucks. So, it depends on the person, like 7-8 hours sleep is very important. And that's something that will definitely, gambling will definitely affect your sleeping habits. Absolutely. Question 18. Do arguments, disappointments, or frustrations create within you an urge to gamble? That's a good one. Me personally, no. I've never really had that part. Like, I've never argued with someone, and said, I'm going to go bet on the Argos. But no, I mean personally, that's like never happened to me. By the way, for those of you that are listening and are not Canadian, the Toronto Argonauts are a football team in the CFL, which is Canada. So just because yeah, I'm not talking about the Jason and the Argonauts or nothing like that. But okay, anyways, yeah. Again, it's everybody's got addictions. I'm assuming if you're a real hardcore gambler, that could be a trigger, especially if someone makes fun of you for it, or throws a couple shots, whatever. Yeah, it could probably, give you that more urge to gamble. I can imagine someone who has a huge addiction and goes to a place like Vegas with a huge gambling addiction. First of all, you shouldn't go to Vegas if you have a gambling problem. But yeah, I mean, you go in there, all the bright lights, all the. I mean, maybe they play music. I don't know. You probably can't hear anything from all the machines going off. I've heard in like Vegas, they will literally try different colors to attract people. There's no clocks on the walls because they don't want people knowing. Obviously, I'm only going to gamble 10 minutes. But I don't know. Everyone's got a cell phone and they got a clock on there, so I don't know. That shouldn't be a problem anymore. I've also heard, and this is interesting. I've heard that certain slot machines actually give out scents, like actual smells that are alluring, and just like I said before, about the different colors and just certain things, just matching your eyes and the lights, and it's probably orgasmic for a gambler. So I mean, to just have that urge, and maybe you haven't done it in a long time, or maybe you just want to keep going with it, and it's pretty crazy. So yeah, I mean, obviously these places are open like 24 hours. So yeah, there's a reason for that. Question 19. Did you ever have an urge to celebrate any good fortune by a few hours of gambling? Yeah, probably. I mean, that's happened to me a couple times. Again, I could see how that happens with people. You just want to let the world know, yeah, you won. It's weird with gambling too. I mean, like it's such a it's just weird to me. Like I mean, in a sense where like okay, like let's take an average person. I mean, let's say they work like 40 hours a week, right? You obviously earn that money. Whether if it's like firemen, policemen, working in an office, like whatever. You earn that money. And then you have a little extra money. You're like, why not? I'll just place a bet here, and then you win. And then you just want to tell the world, it's like, yeah, you know what? I made this money like with really no effort. I mean, again, like going back to what I said before, I mean, you basically got a 50-50 chance of winning a game. It goes that quick. I mean, you could have a really good feeling about a team, but like in the end, like you have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, and of course, like when you win free money, it's awesome. It's like when you get a free meal or a free drink. It's like, yeah, this is awesome. Thanks. Same thing. You just want to celebrate, and it's just. I guess I'm saying like it's weird because like you really didn't earn it. So I mean, for me, it's like shit. Like I got really lucky. I could have definitely just fucked up. Or would I have kept going, or if I lost and just want to win this money back, but instead I'm celebrating something that was just a complete fluke. So a lot of people should just keep that in mind. It's just really just gambling is really just a big fluke. It's lucky. It really requires no skill. I mean, at some points it does, but really it just can you can watch the average game, and like one team is obviously better than the next one, but if there's someone that gets injured, or some miracle happens where the other team just plays 100%, and then the team that's better actually just plays like shit. I mean, like, again, you don't know, but just if you win, you want to celebrate, go ahead. Just I don't know, just don't overdo it. That's all, because again, it's just a big fluke, man. I mean, honestly. And the last question, question 20. Have you ever considered self-destruction or suicide as a result of your gambling? Me personally, no, I haven't. Like I said, I bet a couple bucks. I'm not gonna bitch about a couple bucks, but some people bet really heavy, and yeah, it puts them into a huge spiral. I mean, let's say if you're just by yourself, I mean, who knows? I mean, you could already suffer from a lot of different things, and it sucks just going through all that by yourself, or even if you're with a family. You got to worry about how they feel, and if they know your problem, have you shared with them? If they know about it, then they might come down on you, and then you start to feel bad, and you think to yourself, like, what's the point of all this? I've lost everything. Why don't I just kill myself? And it sucks. Like, it is a horrible disease, like I said before, and it's something that should be taken very seriously. And it's something that you should not invest a lot of time in. Like, if you're gonna go to the racetrack the odd time, that's fine, whatever. You go out with your friends, bet the odd Super Bowl game, whatever. I mean, so it gets so serious where people like will bet on the stupidest things on the Super Bowl. I mean, they'll bet on like the coin toss. They'll bet on how long will the performance be? If one performer will bring out this certain person, will there be a surprise guest? How long will the anthem be sung for? Will it be over under 2 minutes? I mean, it's like, dude, the game hasn't fucking started yet. I mean, like we're betting on the stupidest shit. Like, is the grass real? Is it turf? Like, who gives a shit? Like, just watch the game. Like a game should be. And again, I'm guilty of this too. So don't. I'm not trying to be. Whatever. But again, the game itself should be that interesting. Just like if you're that lost, like into gambling, I mean, you shouldn't even just bother with sports. I mean, you should just, like, I don't know, bet on a coin toss. I mean, get it off like a Band-Aid, one rip, just quick. Like, who cares? So, and if it gets to a point where you're self-destructing and feeling suicidal, then yeah, you got to get some help, big time. Enough's enough. If you need help, it's like anything else in life. Don't be afraid to ask. Find out the best people in your area. If there's an organization that gets together every week, any Gamblers Anonymous meetings you can go to, please do. I mean, there's nothing wrong with admitting you need help. I mean, if you really think about it, everything in life is really a gamble. I mean, let's say if you want to go to university or college, you don't know what you're going to major in. I mean, you could, but then you can be a year into it, and then you're like, I don't want to do this shit. I don't want to be a dentist. I don't want to be a policeman. I don't want to be a gynecologist. I just want to live my life and have fun, But hey, you took the risk, and at least you did it, You wasted your parents' money, but at least you did it. Or even marriage. Marriage is, oh, Jesus Christ. Marriage, from what I'm told, I've never been married. I'm happy. But from what I'm told, that's a huge gamble tue. You hear about these stories, about women and guys, and they get together, and then then they gotta, and then if you put kids in the mix, then you gotta worry about the alimony, and who gets what in the end, and like how come I can't keep the dog because like I bought him first, and he's always been cool to me, and it just, everything in life is a gamble. Everything. That's why they call it a gamble, because you don't know for sure what's going to happen. You know, instead of calling it gambling, they would just call it 100%. You know, in the end, you know what's right. I think a lot of people deep down inside, they always have this instinct of, like if something is going to work out. And, if you're willing to gamble on it, that's cool. But if you don't have a good feeling about it, just don't do it. Really think about even like why you're doing this. Is it for financial gain? Are you just bored? Are you trying to take a risk? Are you trying to just, have some fun? Are you trying to, show who's got the bigger balls? I mean, who knows? But just, really, it should be towards something really good. Having sex without a condom, holy shit. If that's not one of the biggest gambles of all time, I don't know what is. But again, always know what you're getting yourself into. Pardon the pun. But I'm serious. Always think ahead. Everything is a big gamble. But just know what the result could be. Could be good, could be bad. You don't know. One of the biggest gambles I felt I ever did in my life was the first time I did stand-up. I thought to myself, you know what? At the time, I got nothing else to lose. I figured, fuck it. Might as well. So I went to Yuck Yucks, performed on opening night, and for the most part, it went pretty well. Nobody booed. Nobody talked during it. It went pretty well. I even took a gamble on saying some certain topics, certain things that would be considered PC today, You take a risk in life. Just make sure you don't lose everything. I mean, there's a good risk and there's a bad risk. And there's also that extremely stupid risk. Most of the times that involves money that you don't even have, and you're just wasting your time. I mean, you really are. It's just like a distraction of things that you should be really focusing on. I truly believe when you gamble on something, it should make you a better person. The sign of a really good gambler is not knowing that you're going to risk money, but you're going to risk something for yourself. And in the end, even if you do lose, you'll learn something from it. That's the risk you should take from gambling.